Hello everybody, and welcome to another video. Today I'll be giving you some insights into a bit of a horror story that occurred to me a few years ago. It all started with basically a very simple illness. I got misdiagnosed and that led to a series of events. Stick around, I'll give you the full details. If you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button for me to get to 1,000 subscribers. I can't believe it. We were just at 100 a few months ago. We're getting to 1,000, so I'm very appreciative of all your support. Gives me tons of motivation. Hit the subscribe button. We're at 930 right now. Let's get to 1,000. Okay, let's get right into how this all started. So basically it was a normal illness, right? I get ill once every like 2 years, usually lasts for anywhere from 24 to 72 hours. Very rarely it's gonna go 4 days or 5 days. Typically I will get once every 1 to 2 years. There's gonna be like a day or two and that's gonna be it. Obviously like I'm feverish and feeling out of it, and so the second developing symptom that was like quite concerning and very annoying and frustrating to deal with was a crazy pain in my throat. I'm talking about pain. Like, forget about eating hard food. You can't even swallow your spit. Like, this is really bad. Like, you can't drink water. Forget about that. The worst pain I've ever had in my life. This is by no means like some normal pain, you know, sore throat or anything like this. Was like completely next level. You can imagine when you're feverish, you already are not really feeling you want to eat and have appetite. So couple that with this type of pain and you don't even want to drink water. Now, of course, I was hydrating myself, but it was difficult. As we get into this, it's been like 3 days that I'm feverish. So I'm like, okay, might as well go for a normal checkup and just make sure that like nothing serious, that I don't need an antibiotic, I don't need any medication. I can just let it run its course. So we go, the doctor, I don't remember exactly what the first diagnosis was, but basically he believed that I should get some antibiotics and, you know, that basically would go away. So I purchased the medicine and I started taking the antibiotics. Every single day after I was taking these antibiotics, I was getting worse and worse. My fever was basically 38.5 degrees Celsius. We were now getting in the 39 area very consistently. Seeing that things were not getting better, I went to another doctor, again, told them what the situation was. The surprising thing here is that if you see that a patient is ill for a few days, they got some diagnosis, they are getting the medication and there's no improvement, actually things are getting worse, you should probably order a blood test and like some more thorough things. But no, it was like, hey, look, let it run its course, follow the medication, like things will be fine. So as I keep taking the medication, I start hitting 39.5 up to 40 degrees Celsius. Whenever the temperature is high and you're feverish, your immune system's all messed up, like any pain that you do have in your body magnifies significantly. So the pain I had in my throat that I was talking about that was really bad became about 1 million times worse. Like, no exaggerations. Worst thing I've ever had. And I'm a person that can take pain. So at this point, I have 40 degrees Celsius temperature for at least like 3 days. Like, things are pretty bad. When I say 3 days of 40 degrees, and I give you some like timelines of like, okay, I had 38.5, I had 39. All in all, this was already like 15 days. So you can imagine, I was like several kilos down. I couldn't eat. I was like super low on energy. Things were just getting worse, right? Like when you go to a doctor, you want to trust that what they tell you is right. You're not sitting there, you know, second guessing doctors. It's not like the doctor's going to tell you, hey, you should take these antibiotics. And you just decide, you know what, I'm just going to do my own due diligence before taking these antibiotics. I don't know, maybe you do, but I don't. I want to trust a professional, and if the professional tells me, hey, look, you should take this, I'll take this. So if the doctor tells me that I should do something, I believe that they have my best interest. I'll follow their advice and prescription. Yeah, so anyways, I decided that I will go to a third doctor. The third doctor was furious when she heard the timeline and how things were going. She literally grabbed a box of antibiotics and threw them on the wall. I was like, what the f***? It was an older lady and she had like this crazy reaction the moment she learned. So it was like, what medication are you getting? And I saw the antibiotics and she was like, that. She's like threw that across the wall, telling me that I'm basically killing myself. This is like, I have something like reacting to this very negatively and I absolutely should stop taking these antibiotics. So basically a couple days later, we decided to go to another doctor because I was still, even though I had just stopped the medication. And that doctor is like, hey, look, you should do the blood test and you should check whether or not you have mononucleosis. Mono is how it's called in the US. And so the first couple of doctors did ask, did you ever have mono before? before? I said, yes, I had mono when I was a kid. And so when they hear that, they're like, okay, you can't have mono again. It's that unlikely that you can get mono a second time. From what I've read, getting mono and antibiotics is like a lethal combination. Getting antibiotics can cause severe complications and death. Anyways, it was the last doctor that was like saving grace. Like, hey, look, just test, let's know if this is it. And I don't remember what the reference values were. Let's just suppose that the reference values are that if you have mono, you have the reference values between 25 and 50, let's say. My value was like 850. It was like some insane, like completely different magnitude level. It was like, whoa, this is crazy. When you have mono, what you're supposed to be doing is just basically let it run its course. Hydrate, get enough rest, let it run its course. It's not an illness that goes by in 2 days. It can take a couple of weeks. But taking antibiotics was like a very, very, very bad mistake. And so the lesson that I got from all this was that, first of all, moral support was very important. And I have to give kudos to my wonderful girlfriend who was there seeing me in this terrible state, but being next to me and doing everything needed so I can feel better. But basically, the main thing that I learned from this was that if you can be proactive, you definitely have to be reactive. Definitely get a second opinion. And as you can see, I didn't just get the second opinion. I got like 4 opinions or whatever it was. I may even be missing a doctor in between there, right? Like this was like 4 years ago, so I don't like remember the exact sequence of things, like the exact places we went to and so on. But if I hadn't gotten a second opinion and I finished, I don't know, another few days of these antibiotics, I can imagine how worse things could get. Like when you have 40 degrees Celsius for like 3 days, I know in the US this is like very, very, very serious. Of course, it's serious all around the world, but from what I've heard from friends and colleagues that I have in the US, if you have as much like fever as a 39 degrees Celsius, you're at the hospital and they're keeping you there. That's not really how it's done in Greece, where I'm from. So, and for reference, all of this is happening here in Bulgaria where I live. Anyways, getting the second opinion, and if it doesn't hurt, just get a blood test. We would know what's going on if the first doctor said, look, you didn't have mono before, but you know what, it doesn't hurt to also get this blood test. Once in a million if you have mono, let's make sure that we know this, right? Let's get this knocked out of the way. So that was the main catalyst, let's say, to things getting much worse. The fact that I didn't do the blood test. And honestly, I take some personal responsibility also. Despite the doctor not telling me and taking the initiative to say, hey, look, I get the test, maybe I should have done this personally. Maybe I should have done this myself. So I treat this as a lesson. The next time if I have something like this, God forbid, I will definitely do a blood test and I'll see if there's like anything that's abnormal. So these are the main 2 things that I'm going to tell you. Get second opinions and definitely make sure that you do a blood test for like basic things to ensure that you're good. All in all, that's it. That's the story. I don't know if it was worse or better than you expected, but if you enjoyed listening to the story, make sure to hit the subscribe button, please. All right, like I said, our goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers in probably the next 2 weeks, right? We're at about 930 subs right now, so your support would be very, very, very much appreciated. Just hit the subscribe button for me, and if you would like to see pros and cons of living here in Bulgaria, you can click on the video that's here next to me, and also be shooting a part 2. So make sure to click that, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video.